Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast, where we dive into the most intriguing ideas shaping our world nowadays. Today, we're exploring a book that's been making waves for its bold predictions and sharp analysis. Ready, Set, Bolt, by Dmitry Orlov. This isn't your typical read. It's a roller coaster of insights that challenges everything we think we know about global politics, economics, and the future of civilization. So, buckle up as we unpack some of the most fascinating and controversial ideas from this provocative book. Let's start with the opening theme of the book, panic. Orlov kicks things off by telling us, don't panic. He argues that panic is not just unhelpful, it's downright dangerous. Whether it's a herd of horses stampeding or people making hasty, irrational decisions, panic leads to chaos. But here's the twist. Orlov isn't just talking about individual panic. He's pointing to a much larger, systemic panic that's gripping the world today. He uses the example of Russia's recent actions, particularly the annexation of regions like Donetsk and Lugansk. While some see this as an aggressive expansion, Orlov presents it as a redrawing of political borders to reflect natural boundaries. He argues that Russia's actions are not about mindless expansion, but about securing its natural and cultural frontiers. It's a perspective that challenges the mainstream narrative and invites us to question our assumptions. But Orlov doesn't stop there. He delves into the concept of collapse, a theme that runs throughout the book. He famously wrote about the 5 stages of collapse back in 2012, and now he's updating his analysis for today's world. According to Orlov, collapse isn't some far-off possibility. It's already here. He argues that the West, particularly the United States, is in the throes of a collapse that is both inevitable and necessary. He outlines the stages: financial, commercial, political, social, and cultural. From the unsustainable debt levels and the hollowing out of the middle class to the erosion of trust in institutions and the rise of identity politics, Orlov paints a picture of a society in freefall. But here's where it gets interesting. He suggests that collapse might not be the end of the world. In fact, it could be the beginning of a new, more sustainable way of living. Now, let's talk about the role of Russia in all of this. Orlov is unapologetically pro-Russian, and his analysis reflects that. He argues that Russia is not just surviving, but thriving under the pressure of Western sanctions. In fact, he sees the sanctions as a blessing in disguise, forcing Russia to become more self-sufficient and innovative. He points to the development of domestic industries, from agriculture to technology, as evidence of Russia's resilience. But Orlov doesn't just praise Russia. He also criticizes the West's approach. He argues that the sanctions have backfired, hurting Europe more than Russia and accelerating the decline of the petrodollar system. He predicts that the world is moving towards a new economic order, one where the US dollar is no longer the dominant currency. This shift, he suggests, is already underway, with countries like China and India increasingly trading in their own currencies. Now, for the most controversial part of Orlov's analysis, the idea of a new American Civil War. He cites recent polls showing that over 40% of Americans believe a civil war is likely in the next decade. Orlov doesn't shy away from this possibility. He argues that the deep divisions within American society, fueled by political polarization and economic inequality, could lead to a violent confrontation. He suggests that the oligarchy controlling the U.S. might even welcome such a scenario as a way to distract from their own failures and maintain control. But Orlov also offers a glimmer of hope. He believes that collapse could lead to a reconfiguration of American society, one that is more equitable and sustainable. However, he warns that this transition will not be easy and will require a fundamental rethinking of what it means to be American. Finally, Orlov turns his attention to the concept of soft power. He argues that Russia's greatest weapon is not its military or its natural resources, but its values. In a world increasingly disillusioned with the excesses of Western liberalism, Orlov sees Russia as a beacon of traditional values and stability. He suggests that the West's obsession with identity politics and political correctness is driving people towards more conservative, nationalist ideologies. Orlov's analysis here is both insightful and contentious. He argues that the West's attempts to impose its values on the rest of the world are backfiring, creating a backlash that plays into Russia's hands. He believes that Russia's conservative stance on issues like family, religion, and national identity is resonating with people around the world, giving it a unique advantage in the global arena. So, there you have it, a whirlwind tour of Dmitry Orlov's Ready, Net, Bolt. Whether you agree with his analysis or not, there's no denying that Orlov challenges us to think differently about the world we live in. As we navigate these turbulent times, his insights offer a provocative perspective that is both unsettling and enlightening. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of BrightLearn. If you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And remember, in a world full of noise, it's more important than ever to stay informed and think critically. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring.
Visit brightlearn.ai for more fascinating videos like this one, and naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.